guys, so oh my god, what is happening? Okay, hey guys, so today we have a mini tea, as if anything else was going to happen on this channel. But today, actually this video is not coming out today, it's coming out tomorrow probably, or maybe the day after. While you're watching this video, there is a video on the second channel. It's gonna be a makeup-y video, just a very chill, having a chat with someone. So if you're missing the social interaction and staying at home is not doing you great things, then you can just listen to me ramble on about random things on my second channel, and hoping that will help some of you guys to kind of get over all of that. And it's definitely helped me. This is the majority of my social interactions, so thanks guys. So someone sent me in DMs Dustin Daly's video on Tana Mongeau, and I gave that a watch, and oh my god, okay. So Tana Mongeau recently came out with a perfume called Tana by Tana, and it was about $48, and then with shipping I think Dustin Daly paid $52, which is pretty pricey, but okay, sure. And he actually bought it because someone told him that it smells exactly the same as another perfume by the same company. So when you're ordering the perfume from Tana Mongeau, you'll see who is distributing and producing it. It's a company called Marvelous, but like spelt really weird, and they will actually, if you have enough followers, they will cover all the costs, so all you're getting is just pure profit. And I'm assuming that's what happened to Tana Mongeau, because she has a lot of followers and she can kind of use that to her advantage in this case. So they probably have covered all the costs relating creating the perfume. And there was another YouTuber called Alessia Amore who came out with a perfume called Royal, I think it was just Royal, for $36. And when you initially apparently spray them, they kind of smell slightly different, but then when you let them settle for a while, they smell identical. And the notes in like the description, if you read the notes for the perfumes, they're pretty much the same, and they're made by the same company. So I'm not saying that one is a copy of the other. Even just changing one ingredient changes the whole formula, so therefore then it's not a copy. But if you're not that big on Tana Mongeau and you just wanted a new perfume and those notes sounded good, then you can get a perfume for basically $12 cheaper, and the bottle's cute, you know, still, so you're kind of getting a nice deal there. But I think that's so interesting how it's the same company and pretty much the same perfume, but what did we expect? The next piece of tea is Trisha Paytas has recently been shading the Vlog Squad again on her Twitter. First she started kind of going off about haters and how she will hate watch stuff but she will never like actually leave hate comments, which I'll get into that in a minute, and that she doesn't understand why so many people hate on her, which fair enough, that is like a fair criticism to make. There is a huge difference between criticism and hate, and even in the past I've been dwindling between the two. I think at the start of my YouTube channel I've definitely been more harsh than I am now, so I don't know why people now claim that I'm too harsh when have you seen my videos at the start of my channel? And I think there is a huge difference between saying like, oh you suck, and that's it, like just not adding anything to it, that's hate, or saying oh you should kill yourself, that is hate. Saying oh you look so ugly, you're so fat, things like that, oh hate. Just in case you guys didn't realize, I'm sure you smart human beings watching this do know that. I know I'm just talking to the minority that don't understand that and think calling Jaclyn Hill ugly or fat is going to solve anything. And there's criticism such as maybe you shouldn't release lipsticks that are contaminated, maybe you shouldn't lie to your fans. A lot of the comments we make are basically criticism in the sense that, you know, please don't pretend to be transgender, please don't pretend to have DID, please don't pretend that you identify as a chicken nugget, please don't pretend to be a Trump supporter just to rile up people, please don't pretend to say that you didn't make any money off your transgender video when you in reality made 7 grand from it. You know, like that's not hate. And I do understand that there are definitely people that comment on the way she looks, and that's hate. Like despite of what your opinions on her as a human being are, you never have to cross that line. Like you can always keep it to very logical arguments. Okay, so I recently spoke about switch it up a little bit. I recently spoke about the fact that after a certain amount of hours that my video is up, I stop reading comments, and people are like, oh, it's because you can't take criticism. No, it's because that by hour 5 people come in, and instead of saying hey I don't agree with this and this and this and have a civilized conversation, which I can definitely appreciate, if someone just tells me you said this and my opinion on that is this, so we actually disagree, I will not hate you for that. And the thing is, nowadays it's almost like a thing where if I say something and someone else disagrees with me, they follow that up with, and because I disagree with you I have to now unsubscribe. No you don't. Like we can just live on this planet and disagree on some things and still be cool with each other. Like I don't understand this whole like I have to completely agree with everything you say for me to be a fan of yours. Like no, we can have different opinions and you can still enjoy my content. It's not mutually exclusive. Like so for the first few hours people will either say oh you know like I really enjoyed this video, and then someone else will say oh like I really agreed with this point but then I didn't really agree with this point much, and it's a very civilized conversation. And then by like the next day, people that don't know me and clearly just hate me come on my channel and go oh you should yourself because Jeffree Star is actually a good person and I can't believe that you would say that and I think you should go yourself. Like, that's not a civilized conversation. How in your little peanut brain did you think that I was going to read that comment and go, oh yeah, that's a valid point, I'm going to listen to what that person has to say? What? Who? How? When? What makes you think that that is something that I would take on as a valid criticism? That's not criticism, that's hate, you idiot. Anyway, so I can kind of understand where Trisha Paytas is coming from, but we never really hate on her. Like, we never make comments about her looks or anything that would be considered hate. We just say be a normal human being, don't be a troll, you know, you can do so much more than that. So then someone mentioned the vlog squad and how they're not social distancing, which that's a whole other conversation I'm going to get into, and they also mentioned how Natalie is actually cool. So they basically said that since she joined the vlog squad, she's been behaving really poorly, and that her attitude is very like bad compared to how it was before she joined the vlog squad. And Trisha Paytas replied to that and basically said, oh, she's always been a bitch. And then people went on about social distancing. Someone else replied to that comment and basically just said, yeah, you can't ever criticize the vlog squad. I tried to tell people about them not social distancing and I had a bunch of 13-year-olds attack me, which, yes, to a certain extent, there is this trend with very specific YouTubers on the platform that there is just nothing that you can say about them without getting attacked by their very young fans. I think there are many David Dobrik fans who definitely are not like that, but when there is a very loved YouTuber, there tends to be just a lack of accountability there. The vlog squad has not been social distancing. Like, David Dobrik said that he wouldn't do vlogs for 3 weeks because they have to be quarantined at home, and then Corinna Kopf, actually, it was through like pictures and dates and outfits, it was figured out that she met up with Addison, the TikTok girl. They met up and they made TikToks together, and by the outfits you can tell when they met up, because then you could find a picture of Corinna in that outfit and then a picture of Addison in that outfit, and then you could match up the dates. So they're not social distancing, they're just meeting up with random YouTubers and influencers, and they're all collabing together because they are not taking this seriously. Yeah, there is a lot about social distancing that's just not being followed right now. So for example, Jeffree Star had his makeup and hair done when the quarantine started. I know people said something about Jaclyn Hill and her family meeting up, like family that doesn't live with her. Manny MUA and Laura Lee met up. There is just a lot happening. I think it'd be nice if they set the tone for everyone else, so that their fans would be like, oh, my favorite YouTuber is social distancing, so I should social distance too, just as like a good example. But you know, talking about Jaclyn Hill, she recently went to upload a video and then she took it down, and then she's posted an Instagram story where she was like, oh, you know, I went to upload my video and then the coloring of it was wrong, so now I have to take it down, change the coloring, and then upload it again, which is going to take me like 3 to 4 hours. First of all, she was like, oh, the first upload took me like 3 hours. How bad is your Wi-Fi? Because I have really Wi-Fi right now. Like, I need to get that checked and fixed. And she was like, oh, because it's a 30-minute file. It takes me about an hour to upload a 25-minute long video, so I wouldn't say it would take you 3 hours to upload a 30-minute long video unless your Wi-Fi is like from 2010. So I'm not really sure about that. Also, changing the coloring, it literally just takes a few minutes. If you just send it to your editor, they can do it within a matter of 5 minutes if they're like good at what they're doing, you know? Like, you can even do it on like basic free editing platforms in like 5 minutes. And also, is it such a big deal that your video looks dull? Like, you can just keep it up and then change it the next video. Is it that she said something in that video that maybe she was called out for and she's taken it down to take that bit out? If anyone knows how long that video was so we can kind of like do a compare and contrast, then I'd be happy to talk about that. But yeah, I just feel like that's such a strange reason to take a video down. Like, as long as the audio sounds fine and as long as you know, said what you had to say, I don't think coloring of a video is that important, and you can just fix it for next time and just leave this video up. And that is on a serious note, like not just criticizing Jaclyn Hill, but on a serious note, I just don't think she enjoys uploading on YouTube as much as she did before. And I'm gonna have to kind of agree with her, because I think as much as you have every right to criticize her for releasing poor eyeshadow palettes and the whole Morphe cruelty-free vegan thing and her lipsticks and just everything else, the fact that she's lied a lot, but I don't think that's the reason why she doesn't want to upload on YouTube anymore, because it's very easy to just be like, oh yes, I'm sorry for that, and then, you know, go ahead with that. But I'm pretty sure a lot of the comments she gets are regarding her looks. And are you really going to keep on uploading on a platform where people are constantly criticizing, well, not criticizing, hating the way you look? I think it's not that she's not uploading because of people criticizing her for lying and stuff. I think it's more because they're criticizing the way she looks. And it must just not be a nice feeling to upload a video and have people be like, oh, your face looks so fat, you should chill on the filler, when she's already explained why her face looks the way it looks and why she's gained as much weight as she has. And I just think it's, once again, none of anyone's business to talk about the way she looks, because then maybe she would actually upload more, because she's already been held accountable. Like, we did what we could do. She messed up, we brought it up, she released a statement. We can only hope that from now on she will do better, but we can't keep on every time she uploads a video bang on about the way she looks and then expect her to want to upload another video. That's not how it works. People don't want to upload videos of themselves when people are talking about the way they look in a negative way, you know? Keep on holding her accountable if that's what you feel like doing regarding, you know, her lipsticks or her highlighters or her eyeshadow palettes or her lies or whatever else you want to hold her accountable for. But the one thing that I don't think is necessary right now is talking about her looks when she's explained why she looks the way she looks. And then maybe, just maybe, she'll want to upload more videos on YouTube. In my last video, I spoke about James Charles and his show, like new YouTube original show about finding the new like influencer. And people spoke about the diversity or their lack of, but I'm kind of still excited to watch that show and see kind of what comes out of it. And maybe with the next season, if this one is successful, we can reach a certain level of diversity on that one. With that show, I think the audition started in November 2019, and Thomas Halbert, as a joke, auditioned for it on his channel, and obviously he didn't want to take part in it, and then he actually got an email from the producers for him to sign up. He basically said no, so he's not on the show. And then someone tweeted at Thomas and was like, why aren't you on the show, whatever, and then Thomas replied saying basically that he felt uncomfortable and unsafe going on the show, to which James Charles then along the line replied that he was never supposed to be on the show, and Thomas replied to him saying, I've got the email that I was supposed to sign to be on the show, and then he was like, oh, I stand corrected. Then Thomas kind of backpedaled in a way because he was like, oh, you know, the contract was normal, it was normal, because everyone was like, oh my god, what's in the contract that he felt unsafe having to sign it? And then he was like, no, the contract was normal, I just know that most of the judges don't like me, so it wouldn't make sense for me to go on there, and you know, people hate me so much, which I can kind of understand. He's definitely been criticized a lot on the internet lately. He hasn't kind of bounced back from his beef with Jeffree Star back in the day when he tried to expose Jeffree, and then he tried to expose Manny, and then it was just like a big exposing fest. He still hasn't kind of bounced back from that, and every time he kind of does, people, you know, call him out on something else, and then it's just like a big back and forth. I'm not saying he's guilty or innocent of anything, I'm just saying that he hasn't really bounced back. So I kind of understand why he wouldn't want to go on the show, but maybe this would be a good chance for him to like show a better side of himself. The next James Charles piece of tea is there's recently been a trend on TikTok mainly and Instagram where you kind of make yourself look like you're posing for a mugshot, like people have like blood going from their nose and like a black eye or something, and people such as like Danny Khan and Corinna Kopf and James Charles have done it. And now that James Charles has posted it on Twitter and Instagram, people are calling him out for being insensitive, I guess, because people are like, oh, there are abuse victims from like domestic violence that will look at this and be triggered. But the thing is, nowhere in that does it say that that's to do with domestic violence. It's literally a mugshot. Like, he could have been the one in a fight with someone or something. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's to do with domestic violence or anything along those lines. So I don't think he's trying to paint himself as the victim. None of them are. But yes, the trend itself is weird. Like, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't post a picture of myself with like blood running down my face and a black eye, because I just think it's really strange. Do I think the challenge is the most like sensitive thing to do? No, not particularly. But what I've realized is no one had a problem with the challenge until James Charles posted a picture of it. It's starting to become a little bit petty that it doesn't matter what he does, he'll always get hate for it, because, you know, Corinna Kopf posted it, everything was fine. Danny Khan posted it, everything's fine. People on TikTok are posting it, everything's fine, everyone's enjoying it. I just think he gets so much for nothing. Like, if you're going to criticize him, you have to then go ahead and criticize the whole trend and criticize everyone else that did it, not just James Charles, because this isn't just an exclusively James Charles concept. He didn't even come up with it. He wasn't the first one to do it. So I just think criticize everyone. I'm not the biggest fan of this trend. I'm not saying I am. I am saying it's a little bit insensitive to do that, because you don't actually know what people are going through, and this might actually, the image of that might remind people of something that happened. I'm not saying that James Charles tried to make it look like domestic abuse, because he didn't, but it might remind people of that. But then again, this isn't James Charles's trend, and he's just going along with a trend that someone else created. So if you're gonna aim the criticism at someone, it shouldn't necessarily be James Charles, it should be who started the trend. So I don't think I would post that, and I'm not saying that it's like a good idea to post that, but don't let it just be James Charles that gets criticized for this. Make it like a whole trend problem and not just a James Charles problem, because he's not the only one involved in this problem. And the last piece of tea for today is the Hype House. I kind of mentioned this in one of my videos, and a lot more has happened since then. So if you don't know, the Hype House was created by Thomas, who used to be a part of Team 10. Well, he was like an editor for Team 10, and then Daisy, Chase, and then there was also Cova and Alex. So allegedly, what Daisy said in her video is that her and Chase put down 18,000 each. Thomas put down 5,000, and then Cova and Alex put down 5,000 to pay the deposit for the hype house, like the actual house. And then it almost seemed like Daisy was being pushed out and she wasn't treated like a co-founder when she put in a lot of money to be the co-founder. So she has actually now filed for a lawsuit, I believe, and she's basically just saying that she's starting her own house called the Clubhouse. And now a lot of stuff is coming out about Thomas and about the whole situation. So for example, he said that when he started working for her, she wasn't paying him, and then he said in the response video to her video that she was then paying him $200 a week, which that's not enough to live in LA, but you just said that she didn't pay you and you worked for free, but now you're saying that she did pay you, just not enough. And you also somehow allegedly had 15k to pay in deposit when she wasn't paying you a lot and you were still paying to live in LA. That makes no sense, because what he claims is that Chase put down 31,000, Daisy put down 18, and he put down 15, which that is completely not what she's saying, and that Cova and Alex aren't even the co-founders. And now he's trying to claim that Daisy is also not the co-founder, because just because she put down money doesn't mean that she's the co-founder, which you'd think putting down 15k deposit, without which you wouldn't be able to put down a deposit, means she's a co-founder, but I guess in his eyes it isn't. She also then spoke about the fact that all the sponsorships that they were getting would go to him and then he would forward them to everyone else. So they had no access to the email where they were getting all the sponsorships and the brand deals and stuff. So she was like, can I just have access to it as the co-founder and as someone that is doing these sponsorships? I'd like to have access to these emails just so I can see what's happening. He was like, no, I'm the only one that has access to it. It was really weird. Charlie is actually part of the hype house and I think she's about to call it quits. Her and Chase now broke up, so that's really awkward because he's one of the founders of the hype house. And her sister Dixie actually said that she couldn't eat until she filmed a TikTok. It was one of her like biggest TikToks, if not her biggest TikTok. And when FaZe Rug asked her about how like she came up with that, she was like, oh, Thomas told me that I couldn't eat until I filmed that TikTok, and then it went viral. So I just don't think that's like a healthy place to be in. And what does it remind people of? Team 10. And where did Thomas work? In Team 10. Oh my god, like I remember when people said that Jake Paul would charge you like fines if you didn't wake up on time, if you didn't film a video, if you didn't edit, like he wouldn't let you have any people over or drink or eat until work was done. This heavily reminds me of Team 10, except in Team 10 there was actually like a paying scheme. It was like, we take 20% from you being here, or 10 or 15, but you actually get a payment here. Everything's kind of unclear. Like these people don't really know how many sponsorships they're getting or what the fees are, because all the emails seem to be kind of hidden, so they just know what they know or what Thomas allows them to know. And then there was a diss track on Chase where they spoke about the fact that he cheated on Charlie, and then he started tweeting about it all being lies, and then Bryce, the guy who made the diss track, was like, nope, I'm not lying. And then other people started liking Bryce's tweet about him not lying. So there's just so much drama in that one house. But then what do you expect when you put a bunch of teenagers in one house? They're obviously going to argue and there's obviously going to be drama. I just don't think these houses work out well. Also, when Daisy posted the like trailer on Instagram for the Clubhouse that she's now starting, Charlie liked that, which you'd think, considering she's part of the hype house, she wouldn't like that. But now I'm assuming what's going to happen is Charlie and her sister are going to go to the Clubhouse and they're going to be with Daisy, and I'm hoping that that works out better than the hype house, because the hype house seems to be a very toxic place. It seems like you are completely controlled, even though this should be like a fun time. Like everyone on TikTok is having so much fun with it. I think it's just one of the least toxic platforms there is, and everyone seems to be having so much fun. It seems like they are now turning this into a dysfunctional business, because it's not even like a good business model. There's no trademarks, there's no like transparency, there's no communication. It just seems like everything is kind of a big mess, and that is due to the age of most of the people. I think Thomas is the oldest one there, but the rest of them are like 15 to 18. You can't expect a bunch of teenagers to kind of know what they're doing and be able to navigate through this newfound fame that they have. I think there needs to be more of a business model there, like this is the manager, this is the person in charge of all of this is, you know, the assistant, this is etc. Like they need roles and jobs to do, and they just need more clarity. Like they should have really went into this with contracts. I know that they all probably thought that they were just friends and they wouldn't need contracts, but when money is involved, friendships tend to fall apart because things get messy. I think when they went into this, when Chase, Thomas, Daisy, and then allegedly Cova and Alex all put money into the deposit, they should have had a contract drafted saying these are the co-founders because they put down X amount of money and they are now in charge of the hype house and they make all the decisions together. They have to communicate. There was even a situation where someone was filming a music video at the hype house and Daisy was like, why was I not made aware of the fact that someone is using our house for a music video? And he was like, oh well, I put it in one of the chats. And she was like, yeah, but you didn't wait for me to approve this. There is a lot of back and forth there. He claims that she's not the co-founder, but she claims she is because of the money. It almost seems implied. If there's no contract about who is a co-founder and who isn't, you'd assume that that is implied that whoever put in money is the co-founder, because you wouldn't be able to make the Hype House without their money, right? It's like the Hype House wouldn't exist if she didn't put in 18k, because they would be missing 18k and they would have to find someone else to put in 18k, which would make them the co-founder. I just think this is all very shady, and I'm glad that she got out of that situation very quickly, because I just think it would end up getting much worse from there. Like, I just don't think it would be better. She was the one that then tried to file for the trademark for the Hype House so they could actually sell merch and no one else would be able to trademark it before them. She was the one that found a lawyer to try and figure out contracts and all of that, and that's why she wanted emails, so that a lawyer could look over them, but he just didn't give her the email access. I don't know, I feel like the whole thing was super shady, and it seems like Thomas is a grown man who saw a bunch of vulnerable teenagers in a way. Like, they got all this like new fame and they didn't really know what to do with it, so he was like, I have an idea. Let me take all these young people that don't really know anything about business and, you know, brand deals and all that stuff. I'll take them in and make it look like I'm helping them, when in reality I'll just be getting more rich from them, making it a toxic situation, because, you know, the more they work, the more money he gets. So that's why there was that whole like, oh, I wasn't allowed to eat until I filmed a TikTok, because the harder they work, the better it is for him, and he doesn't have to do any work at that point. I don't know, I think the whole situation is really weird. Obviously this is all alleged information until we get like concrete proof. It is his word against her word, but it seems like he's got less proof than she does, and when he does have proof, it still kind of goes against him. Like the fact that he said, oh, I worked for free and then I worked for X amount of money and then somehow I had 15k to put down for a deposit. It all doesn't add up. And then she basically said that when they started the Hype House, after a while he was like showing up Cartier bracelets and he was talking about buying a Tesla, and she was like, where is all this money coming from? It's a weird situation, but it's all alleged information, so until more comes out, we really don't know what's happening. We can just take either word and kind of trust that. But yeah, if you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up, comment down below anything, comment down below, and subscribe because I post videos every other day, or kind of like that, like 3 to 4 times a week. So hit that bell and you'll be notified when that's happening. I also have a second channel where there will be a video on there sometime now, so the link for that will be in the description, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye guys.